Hey, Dragon Slayers. It's been about 2.5 hours since my last meal, and my blood sugar is 80. So, my last meal was, I'm trying to remember everything that I had. I had some grass fed beef tenderloin or filet mignon, about a pound of it. And then I had some fat free, like whole, it was like organic, fat free Greek yogurt and about a half cup of blueberries. So today's video is all about practical applications of the PE diet and how I apply it. So below, we will provide some examples of the PE calculation for actual foods. When you use the protein to energy system, protein and fiber are essentially good, and carbs and fats are essentially bad. Of course, you have to eat some energy, and you can't live on nothing but whey protein powder and egg whites, which is 100% protein. The idea here is to not not to get the highest score and eat pure protein. Instead, you want to increase your current protein to energy ratio in order to increase the protein to energy ratio of your body. A good target might be 1.0, which is roughly equal grams of protein and non protein energy. As this is near the average of worldwide hunter gatherers, this is probably a great place to start. You will need more energy if you are highly active and less energy if you are sedentary. Ideally, if you eat the right foods, your body should let you know how much to eat. When you start to evaluate foods this way, you will quickly come to a few realizations. First of all, meat is awesome. For example, ground beef at various fat percentages. Leaner ground beef is slightly higher in score and less than less lean ground beef. But all fat percentages of ground beef are excellent. And guess what? Ground beef is in fact an amazing food. Grains, however, are an entirely different story. Oats seem to be the best, but are still pretty much terrible. Rice, unsurprisingly, scores terribly too. Your average animal food is scoring higher than your average plant food. And let's remember that 84% of all human calories on Earth are currently coming from plants. A statistic made far more terrible because 60% of all plant calories come from wheat, rice, and corn, which are extremely low on the PE scale. They're basically at the very bottom. Pasta, like anything else made from grain flour, is pretty low on the PE scale as well. Better than sugar or oil, but not by much. So I looked at some HEB organic whole wheat penne pasta. It's got 7 grams of protein, 1 gram of fat, and 42 grams of carbs, as well as 5 grams of fiber. So if we apply the PE formula to it, you would take the 7 grams of protein and divide that by the 1 gram of fat plus the 42 grams of carbs minus the 5 grams of fiber. So that gives you a PE ratio of 0.18. Contrast that to 93% lean ground beef, a fourth pound of it, it would be 23 grams of protein, 8 grams of fat, 0 grams of carbs, and 0 grams of fiber. So if we apply the PE formula to this, you get 23 grams of protein divided by the 8 grams of fat plus 0 grams of carbs minus 0 grams of fiber, or a ratio of 2.88, which is no surprise that it's 16 times the ratio of the whole wheat pasta. Another example would be peanuts. I will just do the calculations for you guys from now on to save time, but peanuts have a PE ratio of 0.43. They are higher than other tree nuts when it comes to their PE ratio, but they still aren't a good source of fat loss by any stretch of the imagination. So, the good thing about the PE ratio of any single food is that the ratio will stay consistent regardless of the serving size. But as you start to add condiments, especially high fatty sauces like ranch dressings, mayos, or dips, it can radically change the ratio. So be aware of this when you eat. The highest PE ratio foods that I've found personally so far, and I've incorporated into my own personal diet, are 99% lean ground turkey breast. It has a ratio of 27. Skinless chicken breast has a ratio of 23. And tuna has a ratio of 21.53. Those three are king when it comes to PE ratios. They have the highest amount of protein with the least amount of energy, aka fats or carbs. When I first started the PAE diet, I ate them exclusively for about the first 5 to 7 days. But I find fattier cuts of meats to be more palatable. So now I eat one or all of them 2 to 3 times a week for lunch, along with 6 eggs for some fat and their ultra high nutrients and some sort of green leafy vegetable. But my dinners have primarily consisted of wild caught Scottish salmon, which has a PE ratio of 2.06, and wild caught Gulf shrimp, which has a PE ratio of 7.5. On the PE scale, any diet primarily consisting of foods with a ratio of 1.2 or higher is ideal for health and weight loss. Diets averaging between zero point 0.4 and 1.0 are great for maintaining your weight, and any diet averaging below like a 0.34 is pretty much a guaranteed way to slowly gain weight and destroy your health over time. So in my next video, we'll be examining the PE ratio of more common foods and more practical ways to use this ratio in your everyday life. In the description below, I also have a link to my own personal PE calculator that I created. Feel free to download and like tweak and modify it to your preferences. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys can also support me on Patreon. The link is on my main profile. And yeah, so together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.